What's up everyone and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Banished. So, in the last episode we were finally able to obtain our cotton seeds here. We had placed an order with one of the traders that we had here, and in the meantime a lot of other traders came by and offered to us their livestock. But because we were solely focused on getting the cotton, we had to wait until the trader that we placed the order with to return, and he finally did. And in the meantime we had stocked up on firewood in order to make the actual trade. So, long story short, we now have cotton. So hopefully that'll alleviate our dependency on the hunting cabin here, because the cotton, the sole purpose of it is to create clothing, and our current clothing supply relies heavily on leather. And the hunting cabin, although it produces leather, it's not going to be enough to, let's say, support a larger population size cotton will. And the second thing is, it's also kind of sporadic in the sense that it will not produce the same amount of leather every season. So I'd like to get off that dependency as soon as I can. And now we have the cotton here. So that's going to be fine. So let's continue, and I'm actually going to slow down the game to 2x here, so we can take a breather and really discuss some things that we're going to do now. So first and foremost, not anything game related here, but I'd like to thank everyone for watching the video, of course, and we even have a few subscriptions already. So that's extremely nice. We also have some comments here, people giving their opinion on what we should do, and they were actually pretty good opinions, so I thought if they don't mind, I'm gonna address them here. So one of our viewers suggested that the marketplace right here, or the central market, is rather far removed from the at least most populated area, and that's gonna be here, right? We started here, we had an herbalist right away. We have two of our food production buildings right here in the gatherer's hut, as well as the hunting cabin, and of course also the forester's lodge. Now, a lot of people work here, so this is really the densest populated area. Now, he was totally right in saying that why do you place your central market all the way here? Because the central market really serves only one purpose, to make sure that everyone gets access to the goods that they want. For instance, clothing, food, tools, anything they need to operate as well as survive. So let's pick the shore house. Where are you? Oh, you're being built there. So why would you place your central market way out here? And that's actually a great observation, because for the people that live here, which is the most of our population right now, they would rather go to this storage barn here, because it essentially holds the same types of materials and way more. So why would they go all the way to the central market here to pick up what they need if they can just as well go to the storage barn here? And that's absolutely true. There's no need for us to be building our central market here right now, because not only does it cost a lot of resources to build, also the build time of the laborers and the builders, of course, and over time we're going to have to employ a vendor here, which is going to cost us an additional laborer. But my reasoning for this is that obviously we're trying to build a city that has roughly 1,000 citizens, and it's really for the long term here. So let's say we grow our population to 100. We have been drawing roads here, and my plan is to really fill these out with houses as well. Maybe get some pastures here. We can choose what we want here. But the plan is to eventually expand to this area. So let's say we build a house right here, right? For them, living right here, the commute to the central market is going to be way shorter than the commute all the way to the storage barn here. So yeah, for the people that are going to be living here, the central market will be an excellent choice. But for the moment, now that we're still on the north side, depending on how we view it, from the central market, all the people that are going to be needing their stuff can be served by the storage barn. So it's really a long-term investment here. And I also like to build my city around central markets, because they really cut down, let's call it the secondary commute, the first commute being obviously where they work and where they have to go to work. So if they go to work, they only have to travel a small distance. That's going to increase the efficiency. And the secondary commute being the citizens really taking whatever it is they need to survive. Being food, being firewood, being clothes, tools, whatever it is they need. So hopefully that answers your question, but I thought it was kind of interesting that most of the comments were really knowledgeable about the game already, and I was first of all aiming to play this game, share it with you guys. Hopefully you can enjoy it as much watching it as I am playing it, but also obviously take the game very, very slow. Talk to what we're doing. Hopefully you'll pick up some knowledge that you don't already have. I can learn from you as well, obviously. So that was the game, but I found it to be rather interesting that people already know a lot about the game and they're offering their 2 cents. And that's going to be excellent. Obviously, I will be learning something. I can address it in the clips themselves. That's going to be very nice, so you can learn from them as well. And let's see, there was also another comment, I believe it was made by the same viewer, is that my birth rate is actually kind of on the low side. And that refers to the cotton here. And again, I agree, 100%. Because the reason that we built a lot of firewood to begin with was we needed something to trade with for the cotton, because I do not relying on this hunting cabin right here. It's just, it works out for the early part of the game, but as soon as you get into the mid game, it's going to be not so good. It's not going to be not stable. You can't really rely on it. And the commenter said, yeah, but okay, you do not have any laborers, because cotton in itself is going to be, for a lack of a better word, useless. You cannot do anything with cotton. The only thing cotton is useful for is to get it to the weavers, and at the moment you do not have any laborers. Although, as I say that, we have 2 more laborers joining our party, so that's going to work out right now. But yes, if you only build a plantation and build cotton here, and you do not have any laborers to make it worth your while, it's not going to be worth it. But I like to grow into my, let's say, available resources, and I do not like to have so many people that I can fill them just out by blanks. I think it's a risk. It's all depending on how you play the game, of course, and that's really the beauty of Banished. There are lots of different strategies, lots of different styles how you wanna play the game, but this is not my first game. And I've had many games where I was too eager with the population. And let's say we have like 34 adults now. How many houses do we have? 27. And we have 20 families. But I've had many games, especially in the beginning, where I was like, yeah, I need more population. So I just built like 10 homes at a time. But those 10 homes are going to really drive up your birth rate. And if you only have, we have 10,000 food right now, but you'd be surprised how fast that can go down. Especially with the babies, because the babies really eat, they take up a lot of your food. They have to stock up in their houses. And that's gonna cost you a lot of food. So while the babies are growing up, they still have to become students, and only after they become students will they be able to join the laborers, and then we can set them to do something productive, like food production, or lumber or log production, or firewood production, whatever have you. We can do whatever we want with them. But if they're babies, they're basically causing the society, because they're eating the food, they're eating the firewood, and if you grow too much, too fast, yes, we'll have a lot of laborers, so we can put them to work wherever we want, but it's really taking a risk on the food department and firewood here. So that's the reasoning. We can take it slow, we can have sustainable growth, whatever you like. But obviously, you'll be running a bigger risk here. And that's our foundry done. So let's put it off for now, we don't need it. So now that we've discussed a little bit about our labor problem, we're actually a little bit more comfortable compared to the last episodes. So let's see here. Our textiles is set at 200. Let's make that 2000, why don't we? We have plenty of room, we can do it. And we're gonna need a lot of cotton. How much cotton do we have in our inventory sitting right now? Oh, still nothing. We probably hit the textiles limit before we were able to get the cotton, and I think they're taking the cotton right now. Yes, they are. So now that we have 3 laborers, we're not going to need them all right away, or at least not to stay laborers. So let's turn on our weavers here. Total of 2 people can work here, but 1 will do for now. We already set it to cloth, but we need cotton, and we do have that coming in right now. Let's turn it on and assign 1 laborer here. Yeah, I really enjoy our viewers really getting into the party, making this thing interactive. We can discuss things. Most of the time you'll be right, because I'm also still learning the game. There are plenty of ways to go about it. And obviously, more minds can think of more things than just one. So again, I really, really appreciate you guys watching the video, commenting on it, giving your opinion on how we should best approach. I think it's wonderful. It really surprised me how much joy I get from it. So again, thank you very much appreciated. Let's see here. 2 laborers, 2 builders. Yeah, that's excellent. And I think we laid out a pretty solid foundation here, being that we have most of the things that are crucial to our people surviving, as well as building, obviously, because we're gonna need all types of things, and especially here the top 9 here. So we have a log producer in the Forester's Lodge. We actually have 2, both filled to the max, so that's good. We have plenty of firewood production. We even have 1 set at lumber here, but we already have 2 ready to get going. So the only thing we need to do is get more laborers there. So that's going to be good. That's going to be a continuous cycle, because trees will be growing and we will be able to cut them down. So that is a problem solved. We're doing very good on the stored food here, at least in my opinion, and at least for now. We have different varieties of food. Obviously the 2 buildings that we've started with here, the Gatherer's Hut brings in a lot of variety here. Ginger, mushroom, blueberries, onions, and of course also here the hunting cabin, producing duck meat, venison, and in this case feathers and leather, but we're not really reliant on them anymore now that we have the cotton and we have the weavers up. So that's going to be good. So let's see here. We have the stone building here. We're currently at a stone limit, so why don't we up that too? Let's make it 1,000 stone, because we do want to have enough stone here so we can change our home building from a wooden house to a stone house and upgrade the homes that we've built already, because the stone house really offers more warmth and more comfort for our citizens. They're just better buildings, but we need a lot of stone for them. So that's the stone. We also have the stored minerals and ores, and that's mostly obviously the iron ore that we can pick off the surface here. But again, we were able to build 2 mines here, 1 designated to coal and the other one to iron. But it requires furnace fuel, and we've built that building too, just nobody working there. But that's gonna solve our problem here, because we really, I think we cleared up a bunch of stone and a bunch of iron ore. We're currently still sitting at 529 here, so that's going to be plenty for the time being, but I'd rather have a building that is going to continuously supply us with food. So we have the stored medicine, and that's really going to be our next challenge here. So yes, we have our herbalist right here. 2 people can work here. Yes, a total of 2 people can work here. And we have several herbalists already set to go. And before we continue, let's have a quick look at what the merchant has for us. Beef cows. Okay, let's pause the game here, because beef cows are actually kind of nice to have, but it's fairly expensive, no? We need 48. Can we swing that? I think so. Overbane by 1,200 units. And I'll address this as soon as I'm done with this trade. So 1,200, yeah. Trade. Dismiss. We're heading into early winter, and we've traded away 1,500 of our firewood here, or 1,200 rather. So we're going to have to backfill that right away. But we are currently sitting at 2,000 firewood, and it's producing at quite a high rate, so I'm not too worried about that. Worst case scenario, we're going to drop the inventory here. It's set to 1,500. We can drop it to 0 if we want, and then all the firewood would return back into the system. But for now, let's see here. Do we want to build a pasture? And I think the answer is yes. So let's try to build a pasture right here. food production here. Standard pasture. There we go. I'd like to leave some room. It's going to be aesthetically pleasing here. And let's turn that on. Pull it up to here. Now the reason that I'm already purchasing beef cows here, a few reasons. One, it's going to be an additional food production building. Second, it's also going to give us more variety. So instead of just having more food, it's going to give us different foods, and that's going to boost our health here. And the health obviously is going to translate to a higher birth rate. But one, let's say, nifty side bonus to having cattle or any kind of livestock is that they're going to produce bone meal. And bone meal is really something we're going to need to fix the herb problem here. Because in the long run, I am not looking to rely solely on the herbalists here, but I'd like to build some apothecaries. And those are going to produce a wide variety of, let's say, well, it's not really herbs, but they store, but it's a medicine either way. So it's going to boost our health, or at least keep it high. And for that, we're going to need bone meal. There are several options you can go, but my preferred route here is going with the simple ones. And that's going to be, I believe it's honey, bone meal, and cloth. So that's going to really help us out, because now we will be producing cloth here. Bone meal, currently our only income of bone meal is going to be the hunting cabin, and it's really not that much. Yeah, roughly 5-6 per season, but that really varies on season by season. But if we have a pasture here, that's going to have a lot of cows, and any livestock really, if you put them in a pasture, they're going to aid you in gaining some additional bone meal. So if bone meal is going to be the last of the three things that we need, we can start continuously producing medicine. So that's the only thing we really need to focus on right now, because if we continue, stored iron, we already talked about that, we can produce that in the mine. Tools obviously come from the iron, and we have a blacksmith right here. It's currently set at 100 tools, and we're fairly close to it. Well, we're at least there, but there does not seem to be any tool production problem in a foreseeable future. And the last of which was, of course, the clothing. We spent most, if not all, of the time in the previous episode obtaining cotton and all the buildings that we need to get a continuous cycle of that. So now that we have 8 out of the 9 things taken care of, either being automated or being practically no limits on their production, we can fairly comfortably grow our population much faster. So let's see here. That's gonna do it for now. Oh, one last comment is regarding the shortage of laborers here. Now I addressed already, obviously. My preferred route is to build the buildings and fill them with people as we see fit. Now obviously you can go another route and build all the laborers that you need, run a little bit more risk on the firewood and on the stored food here, and being able to place people in the buildings that you've built right away. But I chose to go the other route. This is going to be hopefully a long series, and I'd rather not take the risk here. I enjoy playing the game. I'm not really scared about how much time we quote unquote waste waiting for additional laborers to come in. So with that said, let's start up the game. 2x will do, and I'm gonna keep that pasture here, keep a close eye on it. But one thing that the comment suggested is that if you run into a really harsh labor shortage, right? Let's say in the last few episodes we had quite a few people die. I think 4 or 5, maybe 6, I'm not really sure, but compared to our total population here, it was really quite a bit. Let's see here, can we grab that? Yeah, we had a small dip here. Yeah, it seems to be not too terrible, but we had a small dip here. And that's really not something you want to have happen, because obviously you need people to sustain themselves, you need materials to keep your people alive, but you also need people to keep your materials up. So in that case, if you ever run into a laborer shortage that you don't seem to be able to get out of, we've placed our town arrival here. And our town arrival, I don't think, yeah, it does have the tab for nomads. There are currently no nomads requesting citizenship. And nomads are really people, additional people that are not really in your map right now, but you can grant them access to your city and they will move in as laborers. Only the town arrival does not allow for this. We need to upgrade our town arrival. Let's see here, town services. We go to civic buildings, and here is the town hall. Now we can currently build it, of course. It only requires logs, stone and lumber, and we can create all three. And this building will basically serve the same purpose as our town arrival here, but it would have the added benefit of being able to accept nomads. And that's going to boost your labor right away. You don't have to wait for them to be born, become students, and after students become laborers, they'll just add to your labor right away. So, let's see here. How are we doing on the standard pasture here? They're still working on it. Takes up quite a bit of space here, so there are going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to remove from the plot, but it only takes 74 logs, so that's not too bad. We do have 4 laborers and 2 builders. We have 1 person working here at the plantation. Our weavers are producing cloth, currently set at 24. So why don't we go ahead and change over our tailor here. Showing this signal, meaning we're out of leather. And let's change it up. Let's make full coats instead of hide coats. And, well, we can go crazy and put it at 500. We currently have enough laborers as well as builders, so I don't care how much clothes they produce. Especially if I'm planning on using clothes instead of firewood as a trading vehicle here. I don't really need the additional labor. So let's add that up to 500 for the time being. We can choose to make it 1,000, maybe even 10,000. The more they produce, the better. So let's go to 5x here. That was a lot of explaining. Let's see here. Do they have... yeah. Stockpiles right here, so they don't have to travel that far. Let's see here. Yeah, still 27, 22. And I have some buildings open right here, so we might even want to add an additional house right now. We're doing good on food, good on firewood. It's all good. We can really expand our population right now. And as soon as we get the herb problem fixed here, or it's not really a problem at the moment, but it will develop into one sooner than we might want to have it there. So I'd rather fix that sooner rather than later. Let's see here. Well, we can already place on our apothecary, right? The builders are still working on a standard pasture. So where do we want it? Where can we place it, really? It's not a building that is too large. Town services. Health. Apothecary. Oh, it does require some building supplies. Let's see here. Don't necessarily want it anywhere close because it's gonna have to go to the central market to pick whatever it needs. Yeah, maybe here, right? We only need 2 apothecaries for now. Let's place it here. We're gonna really need it now. We don't have the building supplies anyways. So let's move that out of there. Another thing I might want to address here. So we just bought the beef cows. And they were fairly expensive to purchase. It cost us a lot of firewood. Now we don't have anywhere to put them. One thing that I might want to, or we rather, want to be careful of is not to keep them in your trading post for too long. Because they will, let's say, perish. And we bought 6 right now, if my memory serves me right. And the longer we keep them in there, the more cows will actually die. So yes, we bought them, but we won't be able to place them in the pasture right away. So we run a chance to waste some of our trade here. But again, hopefully that won't be necessary here. So let's set it at 10x, get this pasture done as soon as we can, move the cows in, and immediately assign someone to work there. And it's going to take the beef cows from the farm supplier right into the in the standard pasture here. Let's see. Still okay. Food is going up. Our food limit is set at 20,000, so it still has the ability to go up. Logs are doing fine, especially with that second Forcer's Lunch coming up here. It's doing quite nice. Stone is okay. We just upped the stone limit. We can continue on working. Iron, well, no iron as of yet. Firewood is really taking a dip here, because that's really all the firewood that we've been producing is going to the trader here. Let's see, what do you have? More cotton seeds. No, we don't need that. Let's not have him do cotton anymore. We're not going to be purchasing it, and I do not want to waste his time here. And let's not trade too much of our firewood away. Minerals, tools. We actually might want to up that as well. Let's make that 200. Our labor pool is looking good. Why not have the additional tools? Herbs, yeah, going fine. And clothing should really skyrocket here, yeah. The tailor really had to stop and start a lot of times based on how much leather we got in. Now obviously we could have built here an additional hunting cabin, because two hunting cabins are going to be able to produce much more leather than just one. But if we can go to cotton right as soon as we can, why don't we? So yeah, that's looking fine. And let's hope this finishes soon, right? Yeah, it's already building at quite a healthy rate. Hopefully they'll finish it soon. 58 out of 74. Wow. There we go. So let's slow the game down a bit. Let's take the standard pasture right here. And we only have the option for beef cows we just purchased. So let's take them. None of them perished. We still have 6 out of 16. And let's add a farmer to that. Well, it's not a farmer actually, but not really sure what it's called, really. I'm kind of curious. Where are you? I think I saw you somewhere, no? Here, a herdsman, yeah. So one thing to note about the standard pasture here, it says here 6 out of 16. Now, we were only able to purchase 6 of them, and if we look here at what they have produced, standard pasture is really not going to produce anything unless until it reaches 16. So it's going to be going up year by year, hopefully, and only if it reaches 16 it's going to be able to produce beef in this case, bone meal, whatever have you. It can be sheep in there. You can only start producing materials until it reaches 16 here. Now we have a slider bar here. So if we would turn that all the way down to 6, it will start producing materials much faster. But I rather have a big number of beef cows here and then start producing. I'm currently not in dire need of food or dire need of bone meal. We can take care of that much later on. But that's a small tip here. I've been building standard pastures and basically purchasing 6 beef cows, 6 sheep, and 6 deer, for instance, just as an example. And I was hoping to get food of them right away, but unfortunately that was not the case, because it needs a few years to grow into the total number here. But we have the time, it's no problem. Let's just leave them there. Let's see, find paths. Yeah, it's working close by here. Yeah, see, this house has a student, a herdsman, and a child. If it's going to be needing tools, it's going to be way faster to go to the central market instead of all the way to here. So why don't we add one person to work here? And he's going to fill this stock a lot. So it does serve as let's say, storage barn replacement. If nobody works there, people can place their materials, whatever they have, here, regardless of whether or not we have a vendor in here. But if it has a vendor, it can go out and actually grab the stuff that the people are going to need. It's going to be way more efficient. So that's the reason for me building the central market right here. Way shorter commute. Yeah, 2 times, maybe even 3 times. So yeah, are you set at 3,000 already? Wow, that's a lot. How many coats do we have? Full coats, 135. That is that is a big number, at least compared to the leather jackets that we were, or not leather jackets. What are they called? Hide coats, no? Yeah, hide coats. So that's basically going to solve our clothing problems indefinitely. And we only have 1 cotton farm up here, but we have 3 more in line, waiting for us to, if we want to, turn them on and start producing cotton. And we have 2 weavers set at the ready to be built. So yeah, that's gonna be a lot of clothing. We don't have to worry about that for a long time. And we also have additional things that we can trade away. So that's working out quite nicely. Alright, let's see. I think we're almost out of time here for our episode. Hopefully I addressed you guys' questions and or suggestions to proceed here. If you have any more questions, please ask them or put them in the comments. It is very much appreciated, and I think, you know, having this session be interactive is going to be way more fun just compared to me just talking through the game here. So again, thank you for watching, thank you for commenting, and hopefully see you in the next episode. Thank you.